Cool.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, we're going to be on time. We're live. So
Let's do it.
What's up, Jeb? Welcome to today's event on leveraging a podcast for real estate leads and delegating the tech behind the scenes. I'll be talking about delegating the tech. You're going to be talking about the podcast, YouTube, front end stuff. I appreciate your time. And before we got on, you're talking a little bit about clients, huh?
Clients, man. You know, all of this is fancy from the front side, right? It's all the vain metrics of having subscribers, getting views, getting business and all of that. But it actually leads to business. And oftentimes clients are, you know, they add to the stress of my life. So that's where I'm at the moment. I'm coming on with some stress in my head. So, but it's all good. I'm glad to be here. Happy to be here. Happy to hopefully provide some value.
Let's go. That's the number one name of the game today. So for everyone who's watching now and also in the future, comment down below. We are live right now, actually streaming this on YouTube, and we're also streaming this on Facebook. So This will be live. This will be out there for individuals to be able to give some commentary. We'll get back to those questions. And as people trickle in now on StreamYard, if you want to turn on your camera and you want to be able to add some context, or you can just put in just private chat, any questions that you have for Jeb or myself, we'll love to answer that for you. So let's go ahead and get into a little bit of your backstory before we get into like the brass tacks, the questions, the how, the what, the why. How long you been in the business for, man? Why real estate?
So my journey started back in 2002, the end of 2002, beginning of 2003. Came into the business out of college. Into the mortgage side, kind of got thrown into the business. And so I started on the mortgage side. I'm a fast learner. I'm a computer science major. I'm a numbers guy. It all made sense and was able to kind of build a business pretty quickly, learn the business. And shortly after, got my broker's license and started my own mortgage company. Went through the heyday, craziness of the crash and all that good stuff, and then made it out of the other side. All the while doing real estate kind of simultaneously, but not really my focus. And then in 2012, kind of transitioned everything. Got out of the mortgage business entirely, transitioned 100% into real estate. And that's what I've been doing full time since 2012.
Wow.
But basically 20 years in the mortgage and real estate business. I talk a lot about mortgage on the podcast, on my YouTube channel, as well as real estate. And it's really just it's a value add for we have realtors watching, we have mortgage professionals watching, we have a lot of clients and people that follow the podcast and the channel watching. And really it's just coming from a place of trying to help people understand complicated. I put it in quotes there because it's not as complicated as people make it to believe, but trying to make it just boil it down to where people can understand it.
I love it, man. I love it. That's awesome. And if you want to go deeper into Jeb's story, he was on an episode of Real Estate First Technology sponsored by Liftoff Agent. And for the future of this event, we'll get that link there so you can see it in the commentary or in the description of the video. So Clinton, welcome. We have Clinton in the house. And anyone who's showing up, you can go ahead and put your feedback in the chat. If you have any questions as we go through this, just kind of getting better acquainted with Jeb at the present moment. So Jeb, you have this YouTube channel, and within this YouTube channel, welcome Maureen Davis. So you have you're educating home buyers with this YouTube channel with Joshua Smith, who's your preferred lender.
Joshua Lewis, Jeb Smith. But yeah, good.
Joshua Lewis. I'm getting this last name.
It's all good.
I appreciate you. So since conception, November 8th, 2022, roughly around 962,000 plus views, 980 videos, and 5,000 plus subscribers. Before we get into like the specific questions that we have for you today, why and where was the conception of getting this YouTube channel? Like, why did you even want to start this with your preferred lender?
Well, I mean, going back, so I have another YouTube channel, right? Some of you are aware of it, some of you aren't, but that's where I kind of talked about mortgage and real estate and what have you. And I would always give my opinion, and occasionally I would have Josh on as my preferred lender. And what started to happen is, you know, we started getting, the more he was on, the more mortgage questions we would get. So I thought, well, why not create something separate, something where we can collaborate, go back and forth, have conversation? Because at the end of the day, it's a lot easier to talk to someone on camera than it is to just talk yourself and someone to bounce ideas off of and questions off of. As much as people come prepared and filming stuff like this and may have an outline, it's still difficult sometimes to cover everything. And
Yeah.
when people hear it from the other side, it's a lot easier to say, you know what, you said something there. Let me ask you a question, or I don't feel like you explained something. Let me kind of add to it.
I
And
love that.
so through that, the Educated Homebuyer podcast was born. I think we initially put the channel in 2022. We didn't really start to post on it until 2023. And I think at the moment we're on episode 1. We filmed episode 160 today.
Okay.
So there's 900 something videos. A lot of them are shorts that are pulled from other stuff. But at the end of the day, there's a core that's it's a deep dive every week. Just him and I. Sometimes we have guests of, just depending on who they are. We've had Logan Matashami, we've had Barry Habib, we've had, we've had people that are big names out there in the industry come on and talk on the podcast to help educate home buyers as well. But that's essentially where it came from. And it's really, again, a value add to those out there watching and just trying to break complex topics down into something that's a little bit easier to understand and take in.
I love that. I love that. I love the fact that there's the commentary aspect. I love that you could easily kind of rapid fire, get questions coming in and be able to go back and forth with that, which is nice. So it's not just, I know some of you now watching this and or in the future, just filming in front of a camera without any type of feedback. I can imagine, sometimes how that can be daunting. So I love that. We have actually something coming in. Jeb is the man and he is not bad at blackjack, by the way. So
I saw that one. Clinton. That's funny.
Awesome, man. Love you, Clinton. So quick. So I'm curious. So when people, are thinking about going down this process, what type of success have you seen from the conception to now with this specific channel? With your lender here, with Josh, how's it, any like ROI success stories that you have for us to give?
Yeah. I mean, I wish, because there's so much overlap between my channel and his channel and some of the calls to action. And it's unfortunately, had I done it differently from conception, I would have set up different UTM parameters and certain things in order to see exactly where some of this business comes from. Yeah. But with that said, between the two channels, I'm generated 5,700 and something odd leads through Typeform. And these aren't like, just name, phone number. This is like a full Typeform. The average time it takes somebody to fill this thing out has been 12 minutes. It's crazy. It's not a type. It should take about 90 seconds, 2 minutes. But some people keep it open longer. Maybe they're contemplating submitting it, whatever else. So this isn't something that just gets a name and a phone number. This is a full inquiry into the business. But through that, we've been able to help hundreds of people on YouTube. Josh is the lender. I don't do the lending side. I'm kind of the rainmaker, if you will, and making the phones ring and doing the content. And he's the one that's facilitating the business. And through that, I mean, a couple $100 million in business closed for sure over the last couple of years. Wow. And it's all a testament to really just going out there, putting information in front of people. Clearly there's calls to action. Yeah. In trying to help people, but those aren't the focus of the show. The focus is, giving the information away for free. And with that, just telling people that, hey, listen, we do want to help. And this is how you can get in touch with the team.
Wow. I love that. And so you said something about like intake form, type forms, not supposed to take as long as they do take, but how has that been something that's helped the process outside of like them calling you or emailing you, like to have like I guess you could say customer journey, if you will. Sure. How that helped with that process of having more success going down this road?
Well, it's constantly getting refined. In fact, we just redid that form about a week ago to even go more in depth of who that person is. But it's really asking them some basic questions about, not only what they're looking for and where they're looking for something, but, concerns about the process, and just what it is they're trying to accomplish by going through this, and do they have issues that need to be addressed, and kind of asking that stuff up front so that when the call is made, because a lot of it's automated, they get an immediate text, they get a phone call that's trying to schedule an appointment and that sort of thing. So there's immediate follow-up on that. But when you have that information, you have a better idea of who you're talking to, because some of their pain points. And when you have those pain points, it's a little bit easier to not that you're trying to sell everyone, but at the end of the day, it's a reminder of what they're trying to accomplish, and you're using the information they provided to help do that.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's almost like you're kind of premeditating maybe what you would be asking or would like to have asked before you meet them. So you could just cross the T's, dot the I's, and just have that information before you actually go in and have that consultation or have that meeting.
And one thing I'll add to that is like our initial thought process was the shorter the form is, the more likely people are to fill it out, get all the way through it. And so you shouldn't ask a lot of questions. What we've realized is that you can actually ask more questions. You can go deeper down, get more information from them. And the journey is may even be better for the consumer because you're asking a lot of the questions that are going to come up anyway. Whereas maybe the other person that they're talking to just wants to get a loan application filled out and they're not taking them through that entire process or what have you. So it's what we've again, our avatar might be different than someone else's avatar, but we've realized that, we can actually go a little bit deeper down this funnel, if you will. And so the more information we're able to gather, the better experience they're going to have throughout that process.
I love that. I love that. And so when we get into the segment of me talking about the tech behind the scenes, I will be giving some examples of Jeb's website. What does it look like? What are some of the funnels? And going through a presentation that you all have a copy of as well to be able to potentially go down this road yourself and have success with it. So let's get through the 5 topics that we want to go over today as far as questions. Question number 1, how do you identify the videos to film when you do start filming videos, especially in light of like partnering with your lender?
I think it's pain points. If you have conversations with people, you know what they're concerned about. You know what worries them. And the reality is, if it's bothering somebody or somebody asks you that question, there's likely other people with it. It's kind of like the hero's journey, if you will. Us being the hero, we're going to save the day. Who's the villain in this case? The villain, depending on whether you're the mortgage or the real estate side, it could be the housing market as a whole. It could be mortgage rates. It could be guidelines. It could be down payment. It could be a number of things, credit score. And so we're addressing these pain points, not only to help people better understand them, but to kind of go down that rabbit's hole and just break it all down in a way that makes sense for them, because there's a lot of people out there doing videos. The problem is most people doing them aren't doing them well. And the ones that are doing it well, they're still missing components of it. And so when you have both of us on there talking, me from the real estate side, professional real estate side, and him from being the mortgage professional, I think it kind of takes both sides, the approach, and just kind of puts it's a better fit for most people to watch that versus 2 mortgage people sitting there just talking about mortgage, because then it seems more pushy than it does, with that value add.
Yeah, I love that. I think, from a consumer standpoint, it makes me feel better about the opportunity of watching a video, getting educated before I actually make maybe a phone call or I reach out via email, to Josh and or to you, and then it gets real serious, right? So I just get some information first before I go down that rabbit hole. And I like that a lot as far as pain points. So anyone out there, now or the future, like what's the pain points? And I like the idea too. Just like if I'm a buyer, like what's the process of buying? How do I even get started?
That, and like if you're a real estate agent, you're a mortgage pro, whatever you are, or whatever video, you don't even have to be that, right? I'm not a mortgage guy, but I cover mortgages. Go out there and find people that have done videos that are successful and do what they did. And it's really simple. It's not, you need to be that person. You don't need to be Jeb or Josh, or you don't need to, take our transcript and put it in front of you and read it. That's not it. It's find what they talked about, find why it was successful, read through the comments, see what the questions they asked, because that lets you know the buyer persona or the persona of the viewer that's watching it. And our avatar might be different than your avatar or the person that you're trying to talk to. So as a influencer, as a YouTuber, as a podcaster, you have to know who you're talking to. You can't talk to everyone. You can, but your channel's not going to be successful, right? So who are we talking to? It's called the Educated Homebuyer Podcast. We're trying to educate home buyers. We don't talk to sellers. We talk about selling in videos, but never are we addressing selling. We don't talk about how to improve your credit score. Yes, like that's mentioned in a video, but we don't have standalone videos talking about this stuff because that's not what we're doing. We're trying to educate somebody on the buying process. So How do you get approved? What does that mean? Walking them through these different steps in a way that helps their journey in that home buying process.
I love that. I love that. This is, I think, a question that might be on someone's mind. And you can go ahead and drop questions in the private chat. People coming in now on the live side and also here in the room. Do you ever run out of video topic ideas?
No. But what I think people should understand is that you have to be okay repeating yourself. There's only so much, right? When it comes to home buying. And if you're new, there's plenty to talk about. When you've been doing it 4 years, 5 years, like I have, there's not as much to talk about. But you can talk about things in a new way, or you can talk about things differently. Then you can implement client stories. You can talk about, successes and failures and implement those into the topic that you're talking about to help, kind of tell the story. And so I think that's what it's about. But yeah, you will, it's repetitive. It is very, very repetitive. Josh and I have a couple conversations a week about, hey, we know where we're going to be filming a couple weeks out, topic wise. And so it's always trying to figure out, okay, how can we approach the same thing that we talked about 3 weeks ago from a different side? That, again, it's the same information, but have you ever been to a seminar, Norman, when you're sitting there and you've heard something 50 times and then you hear it and you're like, I needed to hear that today. Yes. It's the same thing, right? And most people don't understand that about 70% of the people that listen to you in any sort of online platform have never heard you before. So 70% have never seen Jeb Smith. They've never seen The Educated Home Buyer. They don't know anything about it. So they're hearing it for the first time. And then you got 30% that may have saw it in another video. So
I love that.
It's not running. You are beating your head against the wall to some degree, but it's what needs to be talked about.
I love that. It reminds me of that saying that, like, speaking of when we do go to events, you can only really retain about 10%, they say. Sure. So it's like, if you're going to say what you're going to say, you tell them what you told them, and you tell them one more time. That makes a lot of sense. And I can imagine for someone out there wanting to go down this process, when you do the same topic, but in a different way multiple times, or you do a video that's done really well, again, you're really going to get better.
Sure. And that's it. It's repetitive. It is repetitive, but it is, how do you become an expert at something? You just do it over and over and over again. And I'm personally not one. I've been invited to speak on stage at different events. I always turn it down. It's just not it's not something I personally want to do. Yeah. But getting in front of a camera, talking, doing this sort of thing, it's easy. And it's not that I've talked, I've gotten on stage. I'm okay doing it. It's not that I'm scared to do it. It's not for me. It's just like door knocking. It's not for me. I could do it. I've done it. I don't like it. So
I love it. Hey, this is kind of a treat then. We're here kind of on stage. All right. So the next question I have for you is, how often do you, or should you, be posting on YouTube?
I think there's a fallacy when it comes to people that answer this question, and with a direct answer. I think it's whatever your cadence is your cadence, but make it your cadence, right? Make that the norm. YouTube, podcasting, any sort of platform where you're going to post needs to be consistent. It needs to be consistent day, it needs to be consistent time. Your audience is going to expect this. Once you get an audience, you build an audience, they're going to have expectations of when things are going to be released. Also, the algorithms, they're going to have expectations of when things should be released based on what you've done previously. So what a lot of people do, or where I see a lot of errors, is people say, I'm going to start doing this, Jeb. I'm going to create a podcast and a YouTube channel, and I'm going to start out and I'm going to do 5 videos a week. I'm like, that's a lot. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of content. Yeah. You will get burnt out. I've done it. I did it for 6+ months. I did 5 videos a week. Wow. It's a lot, and it's not. You don't gain anything from that. You're cannibalizing your own views in many ways by doing that. So find a cadence, whether it's once a week, twice a week, and stick to it. And then once you've done that for, say, 4-6 months or so, and you feel like, hey, you know what? I've been doing one for a period of time. I've been able to nail it every time. Let me add another day. Then add another day. Don't go from 1 to 3 or 1 to 5. Go 1 to 2. Okay, I can do that. 2 to 3, 3 to 4, whatever your number is. And then once you've done it, you got to stick to it. I don't know so much about Spotify and Apple when it comes to podcasting. Yeah. But YouTube it runs in about 90-day cycles. So once you mess up a cycle, it takes about 90 days for that algorithm to reset, and figure out what your new cadence is and the new direction of your channel. So just understand when you change things, it's going to affect views, and it should come back. But if you're consistent from the get-go, you don't really have to worry so much about it.
I love that. And your current show with Josh, how many a week are you doing right now?
We do one. We do a podcast once a week, which is a long form conversation. Him and I, no questions. Excuse me, like a true podcast format. And then every Wednesday night, we do a live, and that started on my main channel, Jeb Smith. And because he was always on it, we just co-branded it as the Educated Homebuyer Live. And so that live now feeds to both channels. It feeds to my main channel and it feeds to his channel. And so it posts as a live on both. So there's technically 2 videos. I don't really call a live a video, because for like this is for me is very easy to film because it's just talking. Like we're not doing a lot of I didn't have to prep to have a conversation with you. This is what I do every single day. Right. Whereas in a video and you're deep diving into a topic, you need to have a direction that the conversation is going to go.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. Third question I have out of the 5. I know this isn't like your main focus. You like to just educate first and foremost, but how long does it take before you see return on investment with the channel?
Hard to say, but within the first year, for sure we did. Again, the Educated Homebuyer, the podcast had a little bit of momentum, right? Because I was able to use another platform to push it a little bit. But just take my main channel, for example. I was getting business like listings out of that deal within the first 7-8 months of doing it. And I'm not a hyper local channel, right? So I'm a nationwide channel. If I were hyper local, probably could have more of a geo channel, probably could have done it a lot sooner. I do know there are people out there that are getting business immediately, but I don't want to set the precedent that, hey, you post a video and you work 3 hours, 4 hours doing this video, that somebody's going to call you immediately or that it's going to go viral. It's not going to happen for most people. It can happen, but the reality is it takes time. It takes consistency. It's that constant effort, and at some point it will pay off. And when it pays off, that's you'll start to see that more repetitive. But now, I mean, we get every single video I post, days when I don't post, we're getting leads every single day. So because there's always people watching videos that aren't, that are just evergreen videos that are out there. And so because the algorithm's constantly feeding, we're constantly getting people reaching out.
That's huge. I love that. I love that evergreen concept and the passive prospecting. It's amazing to not have to pick up the calls and do the cold calling, what have you. Number 4. So, when you think about how to get started on YouTube and then like the marketing aspect, do you really have to per se market it, or do you just let the algorithm do its thing after you have the topic, do the thumbnail, write, the description and what have you, and you post that out there? Does the algorithm Instagram do it on its own, or are you posting on other channels? Like
I'm
Facebook?
not, here's the thing. If you're out, let me think of the right way to say this. YouTube is AI based, right? So how YouTube does a video is you create a video and you have a certain audience that will resonate with that video. And the people that resonate with that video, because YouTube's all about watch time, right? The longer you can stay on the platform, the better that video will do. And so, when you post a video and people watch it, what YouTube does is they try to go out and find more people like that. So if you're a first-time home buyer watching my video, Norman, and you watched all the way to the end, well, guess what? YouTube knows that there's other first-time home buyers out there just like you. And you're like, how do they know? They know who you are. They know your interests. They know a lot more about you than you think they do. And so they're going to feed that video to the next person. Well, if that video that pool of people watch it, it's going to continue to push out. But what happens is if I take a video and I send it to my entire database of people that are first-time home buyers, some are sellers, some are investors, some are mortgage people, escrow people I haven't talked to in however long. And that video goes out in front of them and somebody says, oh, Jeb put a video out. Looks interesting. Let me click on it. Clicks on it and they go, oh, this video is for first-time home buyers. Oh, it's 20 minutes long. I'm not watching this. They get out. Guess what? That sends a negative signal to YouTube. It's like, hey, this person didn't like that video. So let's see, continue to see what happens. And when you have enough people that do that, that sends a bad signal to YouTube about that content. And so what I'm trying to get at is, if you have a specific group of your avatar that, you know, are loyal people, they're going to watch your video if you put some content out there, then send it out. Like, put that video in front of them. But if you don't know, then you've got to allow YouTube to kind of do its thing, let it run its course for a little bit before you start marketing that video to your database. There's nothing wrong with sending a video to your database, but I never, once in a blue moon, do I ever send a new video out to my database. If I do, it's usually 2-3 weeks old, because I don't want whatever happens in that email blast to potentially ruin an opportunity for that video to do better long term. Because sometimes videos take 7 days, 21 days before they ever see their stride, right? So not all videos do great to begin with. I have some videos that are 7 out of 10s to start, and I change maybe the thumbnail and the title on stuff, and they just don't change. And I'm like, wow, I'm just going to leave it. You know, it kind of is what it is. And then in 2 weeks, you start to see the video starts to do well. And then all of a sudden it becomes a 1 out of 10. And you're like, what happened? Well, eventually it found its audience, and that audience resonated with that video. And now YouTube is continuing to push it out.
Dude, I love that. I love the fact that it's not advisable to put it on Facebook or LinkedIn or send it out to your database. And I have 100% agree. I had a video on how to film an intro video for a real estate professional. And the next thing you know, it's our top video over a year later. It's like, what happened? So I'm exactly, case study.
And what I would say is, like, once you have the raw video, like you have the video, put it organic on those platforms. Make that an organic video on Facebook. Make that an organic video on LinkedIn, assuming, you know, you meet the time restraints and all that stuff, because they're a little more strict on timing. But you can post that video. It's just not going to be a YouTube video if you want to post it immediately. And those platforms like organic content, they're all competing for eyes, right? And so at the end of the day, you know, if I post a link to a YouTube video on Instagram, chances are that video, that post is going to get shown to a lot less people, because there's an external link than one that doesn't have that link, where I just say, hey, go to my profile and click on a link. And it's because they don't want to leave the platform. They want to keep you on. And so you just got to play their game and know the rules.
I love that. I love that. So one more question. And if anyone has questions for Jeb, go ahead and put it in the comments here. And we'll go ahead and answer any questions that you have. So to maximize, you kind of already hit on this, how to maximize viewers, YouTube to see faster ROI. I mean, it sounded like earlier you were talking about like area specific content for maybe quicker acceleration with potentially ROI. Do you have any advice to the viewers as far as maybe a way they can have more quicker, faster success on YouTube when putting out content?
Yeah, I think if I had to do it over, I mean, in my story, when we didn't talk about how I got to where I got, right, with YouTube. And it's too long of a story to talk about now. But in looking back in it, I started with no plan, right? And the plan had me talking about everything I knew. I read a lot. I have a mortgage background. I've been in real estate for a long period of time. So I use all of that knowledge and I talk about everything. Well, for one, I didn't have an avatar. I didn't know who I was talking to. I was just talking. I was spilling it out to anybody that would listen. And secondly, I was talking nationwide. I wasn't talking Orange County. I wasn't talking Huntington Beach for a lot of this stuff. And I don't necessarily think you got to go as targeted as, say, Huntington Beach, but I think a geocentric channel has, if your goal, again, goals are different for every person. If your goal is to truly get real estate business, not referrals to other agents, not YouTube ad revenue, not viewers or subscribers rather, because those are different goals. If your goal is to actually do business, buyers and sellers, geo's the way to go. And you're not going to grow 100,000 person audience in most cases, unless you're in a really big city. But you might get 3,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 of people that, like, when they think of whatever city you're in, they think, dude, that's my guy. Like
Yeah.
he knows this area. That's who I'm calling. And I
Mm.
feel like that's where the real value is. And I'm slowly, I reached out to you guys, a year and a half ago to kind of
Yeah.
focus more on the Geo channel. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I'm being transparent and honest, it didn't take off as nearly as fast as I wanted it to. And
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't putting the work in. And so I kind of stopped and I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm
Yeah.
just going to stick with what I know works. Now I'm back. I've changed that channel. I'm starting to post more content and I'm speaking to a direct avatar now. I have a person that I'm speaking to. And now I know the channel will do well. It's just going to take a little bit longer. And it's not going to be 100,000 per channel. It's going to be a smaller audience, but those people will resonate with the content.
I love that. I love that. And as you were talking about a year ago, you were on Real Estate First Technology. And if anyone wants to go deeper into Jeb's story, we've got about a 30-minute podcast together. It's in the live chat here. But yeah, I mean, that's when we got started. You're doing more of like the Graham Stephan type YouTube channel, and then built the website out. And then after that, then you're going to do more of the Huntington Beach area content. And to this day, I'm going to go into the presentation in a second. I love the map that we've done, and some of your pages indexed like first page Google right under Zillow. And because you have a really cool community focused type, map and area that you serve. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I had podcast guest yesterday, Kimberly out here in Arizona, and she got 10 leads her first month doing area specific content. So it's
everybody thinks it's so saturated. People talk about content in different ways. And not everyone's going to resonate with Jeb. I know that. Like, I don't speak to everyone, and I'm okay. Like, so you could easily come in and do exactly what Jeb's doing and resonate with an entirely different audience.
Yeah, agreed. Awesome. So we're going to go to our second segment now that we're about 31 minutes and 37 seconds in. Any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'm going to go now and share my screen. Jeb and I, before we got on, I was just like, hey, how do you want to go about? And do you have any slides? He's like, no. And he's like, I could just talk. I'll commentary, ask you some questions. So I love this, Jeb. Let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen and do a presentation. The presentation will be available, so that way, if anyone wants that, you have that. And also, too, you're more than welcome to chime in there, Jeb, at all if you wish. I'm going to see if I could try to. Within StreamYard, as we're streaming, it's easier to do an actual, say, tab on your computer screen. So I might have to tab out, and then I do want to show Jeb's website, which I think is pretty powerful. But I want to talk about, when you have the YouTube channel, how do you transform your website into a 24/7 business hub, meaning like driving that traffic to said area to have more success with that process. So I want to get into that right now. And so back in October, there was about 30 of us, just shy, about 28 of us went to the Philippines. We went to Bohol, Philippines. And you have myself, my wife, my daughter, Smith, his wife, and our amazing team. Some of them are actually tuning in with us right now. And we like to do our annual trip every single year and get together. Just a quick little synopsis about me. Started this company, Liftoff Agent, 23. 23 is when I started my entrepreneur journey. Can't believe it's been 10 years. Called 350 agents to craft up the solution that we have here today, and met with hundreds of thousands of agents, and very grateful now to have Jeb with us today to be able to talk about his successes and what he's doing, because I'm on YouTube, but I'm not doing what Jeb's doing, and individuals that work with us are going to want to really know specifically, what is Jeb doing? How does it work? So we want to go into 11 steps of success to maximize your website, 9 steps to engage buyers, 9 steps to engage sellers, and then 10 steps to boost SEO and engagement on your website. And I want to show you Jeb's map. So when we're done here, I want to show it to you so you can get an idea of what that looks like. But what I want to do is I'm going to go a little closer here on the presentation so you can see this. What I want to do is I want to show you this. And the top right says focus and fire, because that was a presentation we did over with Team Fast and Elias and Kenny. So it's funny, it's still there. So I want to talk about when you think about your website, there's websites can be built off Wix.com. Super simple, very, very easy, kind of like a digital business card, as you can see with the video playing here right now. And then when you think about having a site that's going to be more interactive, something that you can tie in with your YouTube channel. You can see the site here on the right-hand side. And this is going to be Adriana. And so what she's done with her site is she's done a really good job, just like Jeb, being able to showcase Central Texas, the area that she serves. She films YouTube video. I think she's been on YouTube for about 4 months. She's already closed 2 transactions off YouTube and is now getting a lead a week from the process. Interactive map, which is really nice to showcase the area that she serves. And then you have all the various areas also showcased with a picture there. Videos feed in, testimonials feed in, Instagram feeds in. So it just gives you more of an immersive experience. I also think it's a good idea too to have like people automatically book an appointment. Jeb, I know you're still with us. So the auto appointment on your website, do you get a few of those a month or a week?
I get more people looking through the like doing my actual forms more so than anything else, because I have, forms for buyers, forms for sellers, forms for referrals, all of that. So that's really with those things get, hundreds a month.
Wow.
So, but as far as like booking a Calendly, I'm not even sure I have my calendar on my website. If I'm honest, you might know better than I if I do, I probably don't want it on there. How's that?
We'll check that here in a second. I want to show you all the forms too, because I think they're super powerful. So let's talk about workflow when it comes to 11 steps to success when maximizing your website. I don't know. I like the word being intentional, and I think it ties into what you're doing, Jeb, because if you weren't intentional with the videos that you're filming, the content you're putting out there, you wouldn't have that standard operating procedure or those KPIs. And like you said, like, I was starting to go on this Huntington Beach, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do what works instead of going after that specific avatar or focusing on that specific client type. And so being intentional, we just talked about it, the forms, driving the conversation before you have one. SEO, be 10 steps ahead. We're going to show you Jeb's map and a page that's indexing on the first page of Google, believe it or not. Social media, driving people to the site for more information. It's a good place. YouTube, entertaining, educating, and intriguing individuals to go to your site. What about ads? Driving traffic to the site or retargeting to the folks that go to your site. So if you ever gone online, you're searching for something, and then that darn ad keeps popping up for, whatever it is that you were searching, you could do the same thing with your website and be able to retarget those folks. Video to educate your future clients. That means buyer type videos, seller type videos. Guides. How about guides to educate that future client that could tie in with, say, your YouTube content? Vendors list. This is actually a good one. I don't even know if we have this on your site, Jeb, but having a vendors list. So having a vendors list that could be downloaded that can have like the painter, it could have the carpet cleaner, it could have the person who declutters, whatever it is. But just having that on there as a resource, potentially to capture some additional opportunities. Property searches, of course. And so you can control the data, and they can save searches and set up that there. And then 10, having basically, this is something that I don't think anyone's really doing, but I like to put it on there because wishful thinking here is formal listing presentation page being 10 steps ahead and be unique and be different by having a page on your site that could show your value proposition from the perspective of someone wanting to work with you and be able to get additional information about maybe before and after, average days on market, client testimonials, what have you, to be able to showcase your value proposition on that side. And like I said earlier with the ads, retargeting, we actually have a way to do it with IP address to be able to capture first name, last name, and contact information. And they don't even have to do anything on your site. It's a tool I'll talk about here in a second. When you think about your daily workflow on the buyer engagement side, something to take in consideration is basically having a set up custom property alerts. That's one thing that you could do to be proactive with your buyers. I would say you would set them up before they do it themselves. Now, let's say went to your YouTube channel, went to your buyer page, and set up, say, some alerts themselves. Jeb, do you ever get people that set up much alerts themselves on your site?
Not really. I mean, occasionally, and it's random. Like I'll be honest, like the people that do set up the alert, when I try to call them, I can't get a hold of them, and then all of a sudden I'll get a call, a month later that, oh, I've been looking at your site. I'm like, okay, I tried to call you, but no, not often. But people are on the site looking.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Typical, they may be scared. I'm not ready yet. I'll call you in a month. So personalized buyer guides, I think is a great way to add value, especially after the NAR settlement. You're talking about how do you add value? How do you add value from the perspective of, your commissions, right? And knowing that, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing. This is what the process looks like with the buyer's guide. A playlist of videos from your YouTube channel for buyers, I think could be great just to help educate them. That's exactly what we're talking about with you, Jeb, with the podcast you have and YouTube channel. And then from there, asking key questions with the forums, which we talked about, which we'll be going over. Testimonial videos could be great to have on that page, and written as well, as far as on the buyer page. And then lead capture. So this is what I was talking about earlier with warmly.com. So warmly.com gives you the ability to capture IP, and based off the IP, you can get first name, last name, and contact information from the folks that go to your site, and they don't have to do anything. There's going to be at the bottom a privacy note, and they can click to say, I don't want you to give that information to you. A lot of times people don't do that. So you can technically get that information. We have a standard operating procedure at Liftoff where someone goes to our website. Soon as someone comes through the web lease, the warmly.com side, we automatically send them a notification saying, hey, thanks so much for stopping by our website. If we can be of service or help, we'll love to be as such. And they automatically go into our automation sequence. So just being intentional, thinking 10 steps ahead. And then basically from there, setting up a meeting now button, calendly.com. Like Jeb Smith said, he'd rather not have it on there. And we'll see if he has his on his site here in a second. And then interactive maps. This is something that we'll show you with Jeb. And it's just nice to have a map that you can then kind of go through to find out where do you want to move. Like for Jeb's point in cases would be Huntington Beach. And so what communities, what area, I think it's really cool to have that outside of going to youtube.com. You could use a map to give a different, it's called UI UX, a different look and feel of how you navigate that process. And of course, have everything tie in with your CRM system. So if someone goes to the type form, downloads a guide, sets up a meeting with you, those are 3 things. The 4th thing would be warmly.com, where then you can send them automation from a text message or an email because they went to your site and did something. And the cool thing is this is all automated. You don't have to do anything. As soon as you set it, you forget it, and you go down your merry way doing like YouTube videos. 9 steps to engage sellers. So professional formal listing presentation page for sellers. Having basically a vendors list there, and you can have a vendors list for the pre-home prep process. And so that way you can be able to maybe get the home sellers ready before they're actually ready to sell, and some things to think about. Sharing that seller guide. So great way to add value and build that trust. Playlist of videos yet again. And so that way you can be able to educate on that side. Having forms they can fill out, asking key questions, testimonials, written or video, add value there, capture leads at warmly.com, and then set up a meeting now button. And last but not least, having all this tie into your CRM system. So it's funny, Jeb, we were talking about it earlier. You tell them what you told them, and you tell them one more time. Sure. So there's a lot of crossover from the buy side, sell side. Now let's talk about the workflow and the 10 steps of boost engagement and SEO on your website. So when someone goes to your website, watching now in the future, is it easy to navigate? Is it not easy to navigate? What comes up for the person? When you think UI, UX, that's going to be Smith. He's our co-founder at Liftoff Agent that worked with you, Jeb, and basically goes through what is that end customer or user going to do navigating through the site so they can have the best experience and also be able to drive through a process where they can watch your videos or download a guide so you can capture that opportunity and serve that person.
And Smith is the best in the biz, man. He's good stuff. So.
Oh, dude, thanks so much, man. Yeah, he's definitely, I trust him with my life. We've been working together for 10 plus years, met him on Craigslist at all places. And he's our co-founder, and he's definitely, he's complete opposite of me, huh?
No, he's a workhorse, and the guy is creative to no get out. Like the guy knows, like he knew what I wanted and I couldn't tell him what I wanted. And yeah, I
remember the map. He was telling me, he's like, we're going to do this map for Jeb. It's going to be the most interactive, and we're going to do this like community-based map. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I remember he even told me during the time he went the extra mile just because that's what we like to do. We like to nerd out and try things. And we don't want to, charge all the money for it all the time. Because if you're a first person and you want to work with us and we can work together and we could figure this out together, like, hey, let's do it.
No, agreed. And very, very happy with the turnout. So
awesome, man. Thanks so much for the feedback. So number 2, video walkthrough tour on your site. That's something I don't feel that a lot of individuals have. Even for you, Jeb, too. We have an auto pop-up. And so basically it's like if you're going to do a video walkthrough tour, why not do a video tour of your site? So, hey, Jeb here. I have a website that you could take advantage of a couple different things. I have the Explore Hub map. Check it out. I have buy side. Here's some good resources. You could check out our podcasts with Josh. And then you have sell side. And here's some information here. And then these intake forms would automatically link you with my preferred lender. If you're looking to buy and you're not ready to make a phone call or send me a text message or shoot over an email, this is the process in the workflow, so that way when someone goes to your site, you can track who goes there. You can retarget the folks. You can have them watch that video walkthrough tour, and you're just not seeing it on websites. And I think people sometimes go to a website and it's like, I don't know where I need to go. And then they start clicking around and, figuring it out. Videoask.com is one that I love. It's a video on the bottom right of the actual website, and you could take them down a video journey. It's like a funnel process. So you're looking to buy a home, then you click A. If you're looking to sell a home, you click B. Are you looking to relocate? Then you click C. You can ask them some questions and you can give them an interactive video sequence, which is really cool. And then from there, deliberately speaking to your ideal avatar. So who's an ideal client? Speak to them deliberately, and it'll help you be able to have more success with the process of, it's basically just customer journey. It's basically setting the intention, and it's just thinking in your mind, like, okay, I'm going to work with the buyer. Okay, I'm going to work with the seller. What does that look like? And then filming those videos to help them with that process. Video to blog, man, this has been a huge one. So we've been doing video to blog that goes sequentially with our videos, and they've done a really good job to help index online outside of AI. And of course, AI can write you any type of blog you want, but having a video on YouTube transcribed into a video to blog onto your website has been amazing, and definitely enhancing engagement in SEO for sites. Amazing buyer content for SEO, amazing seller content, and then also having area content to help boost SEO, and resources and guides to boost SEO, and then the interactive map, which I'll show you, Jebs, here in a minute. So you guys can all get a copy of this. If you're taking pictures, great. Couple things I want to show you is, if you're sending out mailers, you're doing the old school sending out mailers, get your home evaluation. Why not have a page on your website where you can do what I just talked about? Some of that retargeting and warmly.com to capture leads, to then have more success with sending out those mailers that you're sending out. That's a great thing to think about with your website. You can also think, hey, SEO, we just talked about it, ranking, because your blogs. This is one of our clients that's going to be in North Carolina. And so she's Beth, and she's crushing it on YouTube. And we've been helping her index and get found on YouTube, found on Google. Interactive maps. This is Jesse and Jackson. These guys are the original OGs when it comes to YouTube. They're one of our clients. They're the channel junkies. And this is going to be, got Jesse, and this is going to be Jackson. And they talk about their map on their YouTube channel and show it specifically with a QR code, because it gives you a different viewing experience coming from the perspective of being able to, YouTube's great and it lines out a certain way, but if you're on the website and then you have the map and you want to move to a specific set area, you click on that area, you can watch that video, and it's a different viewer experience. It's a different, like we'll say, customer journey, right? And so that's one thing that is super powerful. And then when you think about like your website, there's tons of different ways to then get hyper local and have landing pages. You could do buy, sell, relocate, first time home buyer, probate, 1031 exchange. This is a slide that, of course, Smith came up with. He was nerding out on all the different types of opportunities here. And then you have unique. It could be new construction. It could be lakefront properties. Then you could do marketing pages. Like, what about a single property website that doesn't link to your photographer or videographer? It links to your website, right? So we're now integrating single property websites, mailer landing pages, so that we can drive as much traffic to that. And then, of course, the internal pages for Real Broker, EXP. We're talking downlines, right? Downlines, building value, adding know, like, trust. I think that the site is something that you control, and something you can have so much more success with in controlling the process of who's going to your site, monitoring that, doing the retargeting, and then you don't have to be so, Instagram goes down, so reliant upon that. What are you going to do? Here's just a case study. Kayla Lindsay, she went through passive prospecting, Levi Lassick and Travis. She's a top 1% agent in Charlotte, North Carolina, about 60 transactions in the past 12 months, top 1% agent. And her case study is about, working with us and how we truly enhanced her brand and how she's seen an uptick in her business. And she generated a lead the first week because she was already on YouTube, and then she started to just interact with her audience to drive traffic to her website, and then she's already seen ROI and also a lead from that. And so these are just some visuals. I'm going to show this to you on Jeb's site here in a second, but the map, guides, Instagram feeding in, next steps. I'll show you a live example of this, but are you 3, 6, 12 months out on the intake form? What's your budget? Do you have a pre-approval, in hand? So I'm going to show that to you here in a second, but I want to give you guys a gift for free. I wrote this myself. It basically covers that page on how to maximize your website. This is a 10 game-changing tools to basically everything from the retargeting, the video ask, the warmly.com, the video walkthrough tour. Like this guide basically will just, instead of you taking the pictures or writing the notes, if you just scan this and download it, you could just basically have it, print it, keep it on your desktop, put it on your phone, whatever else. And this underneath resources under liftoffagent.com. We have a YouTube channel as well. I'm still trying to crack the code, Jeb, on our YouTube channel, but videos go out twice a week, and I'm really looking to just do the best I can to pour out information for free to the community of real estate. And then our Instagram page has great content there as well. QR code goes to there. And then you can just look up Liftoff Agent on YouTube and you'll find the channel. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to go to Jeb's site here in a second. We do have an exclusive offer, 15% off for anyone that basically signs up with us. And then I'm going to do one better. I'm going to give back to you, Jeb. So anyone that scans this QR code and signs up with us now or in the future, Jeb, you get 10% of anyone that signs up. Just because I appreciate your time today. You could donate that money. You could use that money to build another website. I don't care. But basically we'll keep tally of that. And so you all can scan that now, get your 15% off, tell us that you were in this presentation, and we'll be good to go. And I'll make sure to take care of you on that. So that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and stop sharing. And I want to share Jeb's site to end our event and answer any questions that we have. So let me go back over here and let me share presentation, pick specific screen, and let's go to Jeb's website. Here it is, sharing now. All right. You see that there, Jeb?
I do. Yes.
Awesome. So let's just quickly just check it out. So he has a buy side, some resources here, get to the point, get pre-qualified, home buyer questionnaire, sell side, home worth, Explore Hub. We'll check that out in a second. Resources, blogs, Huntington Beach videos, lots of resources and information here about referrals and join me. I can imagine because you're with Real. So you kind of already have a video here as far as about Huntington Beach. So then they can get a little bit more information. Scrolling down, explore the area. We'll click that in a second. Videos feed in automatically, which is really cool. Featured properties, that's from Real Scout. I love testimonials, automatically feed in, and you can basically see whatever platform you want to see them from. And then schedule a meeting, Jeb. I think we do have a link here. Let's see. You do.
There you go. Nobody ever clicks on it, so it works. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it's good. And not that I don't want people to call me, but I'd rather not people book directly on my calendar without me knowing, like, hey, what's it about? But anyway. I might be rare. I might be rare in that case. So.
Yeah, I don't know. And so people can also, join your email list, which I think is great and powerful as well. But what I want to do is I want to show you the Explore Hub. So earlier in the presentation, we talked about this, and this is where the magic happens, I believe, because we have this map here, and these are just pinpoints around Huntington Beach in said area, and these are communities. And so if we go into the community page here, we can learn a little bit about it. Jeb's talking about it. And then you have a little bit about floor plans. There's 800,000 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, resources, download here. And this is the journey. Check this out. This is what we were talking about earlier. So if y'all don't have something like this, this is just typeforms.com. This is not like proprietary. I'm not even going to say this is like only we could do this. Anyone could do this. So are you 3 or 6?
No, not anyone. That's a complicated thing, bro. I see
All
the
right.
back end of this thing. It's not.
All right.
It's not as easy as just saying you can do it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So, what's your budget? Okay, cool. 750,000. Do you pre-approval letter at hands? Good to go. If not, it would connect to Josh, put in your additional information, and then that would be submitted. I'm not going to do that currently right now, but you can also search for homes in that area, and then down here, schedule a meeting. So there is that link.
So we can't see the bottom of the screen there. So if you scroll down a little bit, Norman,
you see that now?
No, we just see the map.
We're
not seeing what you're talking about. I think people should see, but what's below this, the actual page of that, like this.
Yes.
Because what happens is, like, those are communities in Huntington Beach, right? Those are going to vary by city depending on what you're in. Huntington Beach has a lot of condos, a lot of townhomes. There are some single family communities in here, not the majority of, just because of the way the pages are set up. But a lot of these places people have heard of. They don't know any information about them. They don't know where they are in Huntington Beach. So you're able to not only click on, one of, say, any of these, right? You could click on one and it's going to show you it's going to tell you a little bit about the community. If I've done a video is going to pop there, but it's also going to show you the map on the right? So now you know where that is in relation to Huntington Beach, what the location is. You have information. If you want resources, you can reach out. And then if you were looking at that main map, you could just look on the map and say, hey, Jeb, I want to be close to the beach. Not that map. If you were to go back to the main one, Norman.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like,
and
where we
have
were
it
before.
Here at the bottom too, right here.
Yeah, exactly. So if you were looking at this and you said, hey, Jeb, I want to be by the beach, it's really easy to just zoom into that map and look at the communities that are closer to the beach, right? And then figure out, okay, I like the location of these communities. Jeb, can you tell me about them? Versus starting the conversation with me saying, hey, I want to be by the beach. And then I have to talk about 15 different communities. Not to say that that's a bad thing, because I'm still happy to have that conversation. But the more informed the buyer is when they call you, the better experience both of us are going to have, because you can really, you're not spending all this time educating. You're just kind of talking about the things they truly want to know. And so it's good. I mean, it's good in that sense. And obviously you can make this, where it's an actually satellite view too of the map. So it's not this, but yeah, it's awesome.
I love that.
I think there's 102 or 103 of them at the moment. And for the longest time, I kind of stopped creating them. And now I'm kind of back in this camp of going back through and continuing to create more. So
yeah, I love that. Yeah, I was dealing with brain interruption, because good old StreamYard gives you one tab to share. So as soon as it tabbed me out, thanks for looking out for me there. And hey, Norm, we can't see that, but I love how we have cities, utilities, school zoning, next steps, meeting, of course, we talked about searching for homes in that said area. And then, like what I was talking about, what you couldn't see, where are you at in the process? Where are you at in the budget? Do you have preferred lender, so on and so forth. And then you can answer those questions. And the last thing I wanted to show you was, which would I have to link out to their page, but we have, say, for instance, the page that I was going to show you was this one here. And this community page is the first page, second underneath Zillow. So there's something to be said there from the perspective of just working, I would say, to conclude our whole entire, event here, just work smarter.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I mean, again, I'm a computer science major. Could I have built a website like this? Probably, but I wouldn't have it wouldn't be nearly as interactive. It wouldn't be nearly as visually appealing. It wouldn't have 90% of the features here. And you guys did an awesome job doing it. And for that, I'm grateful and appreciative. So
thank you so much, sir. I really do appreciate you. I mean, we're almost at the 60-minute marker here. This has been a pleasure. If anyone has any questions, you're more than welcome to put it here in the chat. Jeb, I really do appreciate your time. And this is a cool, different type of interactive experience as we're doing these webinars every single month. And so I didn't quite know what I didn't know. And now, as we unfolded today's presentation and event, I think it went better than I possibly could have imagined, man. So thanks so much for.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I'm always happy to chime in. I mean, again, you guys have helped me a lot, and I'm always happy to give back. I mean, I think I've told you this before, but occasionally, like when you're talking to agents, and I guess you probably mentioned my site. People call me and say, "Hey, what do you think? What do you know?" And I'm constantly telling them the same thing I'm saying here, and that's that. I very appreciative of what you guys have done and think it's good stuff. So
awesome, man. No, I really appreciate that. What I'll do is now I'll save you time and I'll just send them this event.
Perfect.
Here's the event. No. Jeb will tell you everything.
But you can always have them call me. You can always use me as a referral, man. I'm happy to have that conversation.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Before we got on air, Jeb has some clients he's working with. So best of luck with those clients. I hope everything goes smooth.
I've been looking at my phone occasionally throughout this whole thing, just hoping not to see crazy text messages. And fortunately, I think I might get out of this without any, but I know they're coming. All right.
Norman. Well, I'll catch you on the online side with cereal boxes and all, and clothes on the floor. And we'll see you. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in today.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Appreciate you having me. Adios.
All right. Adios.